Hi, welcome to Chef on the Loose. Today we'll be making a lemon cream log. It is gluten-free and very nutritious. So the first thing you will need to do is get your ingredients ready and preheat the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. We've got 4 large eggs, 1 scoop of low carb or zero carb whey protein. This one is 22 grams of protein and sweetened with stevia. We have a quarter of a cup of maple syrup, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar, half a cup of oat flour, and half a cup and a quarter of a cup of tapioca flour. As well, you may add almond extract, as I have here. It's totally optional, but I'm going to use it for this recipe. So I've got 2 mixing bowls ready, and now I'm going to separate the egg whites from the yolks. And now what you would need to do is add the maple syrup to the egg yolks. This is a quarter of a cup, but you may use more or less depending on your taste for sweetness. As well, you can omit the maple syrup altogether and use a natural sweetener such as stevia or xylitol. I'm going to beat the egg yolks until they become thick and lemon colored. This will take about 2 minutes. And now we're going to add the whey protein, the 22 grams of protein that's going to make this cake super nutritious, to the egg yolks. And we're going to mix it for a few seconds more. This should smell like vanilla custard, really nice. Now we are going to whip up our egg whites. So I've got my whisk attachment here, and I will whip it up for about 3 minutes on high until they are stiff. So now we grab our egg yolk mixture and we're going to add the flour. About half a cup and almost a quarter of a cup of tapioca flour. It's also known as tapioca starch, but it's the same thing. Half a cup of oat flour. Next, we drop in the cream of tartar and the baking soda. You may also add half a teaspoon of almond extract to enhance the flavor. Now I'm going to add the beaters, and I'm going to take some of the egg whites. I'm using a spatula. I'm going to take about half of them and place that half into the egg yolk mixture. Doesn't need to be exactly half. And then on low speed, I am going to gently mix this up for a few seconds. And as you can see, it's just blended, not all the way through, but it's nicely incorporated together. So now what we do is we fold in the rest of the egg whites using our spatula into this egg yolk mixture. So we're gently folding until it becomes light yellow and foamy. Now what we're going to do is grab a baking sheet, a large one. Mine is 16 by 10 inches. If you use a smaller baking sheet, you just end up with a thicker biscuit. We're going to spread out the mixture evenly. I forgot to mention that I did line this baking sheet with parchment paper. I do not use wax paper, I use parchment paper. Alright, all that's left to do is to pop this into the oven and set a timer for 10 minutes. Alright, so our biscuit should be ready. Oh yes, it has lifted up really nicely. Now we need to hurry and bring it over to our table over here, because if we let it cool, it will become stiff and dry. Now what we're going to do is grab some water, some rum, or what I'm using here is half a cup of orange flower water, and you're going to pour half of this over the top. What's going to happen is the biscuit absorbs the flavor and the fragrance and retains its moisture. Then I'm going to grab 3 paper towels that have been soaked in water. I'm going to lay this over the top to keep it from drying out. Then I'm going to gently lift the biscuit with the parchment paper out of the baking sheet and flip it over onto the drying rack. At this point, you can remove the parchment paper, and we're going to repeat the first steps. So, we're pouring the orange flower water. You can spread it out in your hands. Okay, and cover it with paper towels. Now at this point I usually flip it again, and maybe tricky, so I bend the paper towels at the ends. Flip it, and I'm going to roll it up jelly roll style. Rolling it up this way assures that when it has cooled down, it will make a really nice soft jelly roll. It will not break when you roll it with the cream. We are going to allow it to cool in this way for about 30 minutes or until it is room temperature. Meanwhile, we will work on the lemon curd. For this, you will need 2 eggs, 1 whole lemon, a cup of milk, some essential lemon oil that is food grade or lemon extract, pure vanilla extract, citric acid, a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, 2 tablespoons of tapioca flour, and this is going to be 1 tablespoon of pomegranate syrup. What I'm going to do first is to beat the eggs. Next, you are going to cut the lemon in half and squeeze the juice into a medium-sized saucepan, as I have here. Now we're going to add the milk. And the maple syrup. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I use only pure vanilla extract, not the artificial one. Now I'm going to turn this on to medium heat. I will put in the tapioca flour, and I'm going to gently whisk it. One secret ingredient that you may use for adding the nice yellow color that we see in most lemon curd is a pinch of pure turmeric powder. It does not alter the taste whatsoever, but it adds this nice yellow tinge that we are used to seeing. As the mixture is warming up, we're adding the citric acid. So we'll need half a teaspoon. And the pomegranate syrup, which is 1 teaspoon. Now we're gently going to be stirring it until it becomes hot. Not boiling hot, but just really warm. Alright, now it is really hot. We're going to slowly pour in the egg yolk, the egg mixture, while whisking it in gently. At this point, you may add any other flavoring that you want. And I'm going to add some coconut oil. This is about a tablespoon of coconut oil for its nutritious health benefits and creamy taste. So it's just going to melt into this curd. Also, I'm going to add a few drops of lemon oil. As we see here, the mixture is getting bubbly. That means it is almost done. When it gets bubbly, the eggs are almost cooked. So I'm just waiting for the coconut oil to melt. Then I'm going to take it off the heat and cool it to room temperature. Alright, now that our lemon curd is hot and bubbly, we can take it off the heat and we're going to let it cool to room temperature before spreading it on the log. And so, the lemon curd mixture has cooled down completely. And as you can see, it is very gooey, sweet, and creamy and smells like a fresh lemon. Now, we'll have to spread it out. Now moving on to the whipping cream. Over here, I've got only 1 cup of whipping cream, not the entire liter. I'm going to pour this into the mixing bowl, and I'm going to whip it on high until the soft peaks form. So as we can see, it's just becoming solid now, just beginning to have soft peaks. And at this stage, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, about 2 teaspoons of pomegranate syrup. I've got 1 tablespoon of tapioca flour. It's going to help hold the whipping cream together and prevent it from melting. Just like ice cream. Now we are going to spread this mixture on top of our lemon curd mixture. Now we're just going to gently roll it up. And place it on a plate. And at this point you may trim off the ends. We have a lot of cream here. Okay, now we're going to wash our fingers and make the glaze. We'll need some preferably organic cacao butter. I've got 30 grams in this bowl. 1 tablespoon of milk. I'm going to add that. A large tablespoon, this is a teaspoon, but this is a tablespoon worth of coconut oil, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1 teaspoon of pomegranate syrup. You may also use maple syrup or stevia if you prefer to go no sugar. And we're going to pop this into the microwave for about 25 to 30 seconds, and that's on high. Okay, let's take a look at what we have. The cacao butter has melted and the coconut oil is still melted, which is fine. We're just going to mix it in. It's going to melt. We don't want to overheat it. Now we can add 3 drops of lemon oil or a teaspoon of lemon extract. We're going to mix it until the coconut oil has melted completely. Now that it has melted, we need it to cool down faster, so we're going to place it into the freezer for about 10 minutes. So it has been 10 minutes and I'm taking out the glaze from the freezer. So as you can see, we've got some chunks that have not frozen but become stiff. Other ones are liquid. This is what we want. So we're going to mix it and it's going to be cooling down, becoming thicker and thicker. We don't want it cooled completely because then it will be rock solid and we won't be able to pour it, to spread it out. It's cooling down and becoming hard by the minute, by the second I should say. Now we're going to put this in the fridge and let it become stiff. Don't worry if it looks a little messy because we are going to clean it up and trim up the edges before we serve it. So there we have it!